What's going on, everyone? Happy game day. Happy Saturday. It is another edition of the pregame live chat, Chiefs versus Lions preseason edition. All right. Yes, week 2 of the preseason. I'm sure you're all amped up. And I'm sure everyone's going to be bored by halftime because that's the way these preseason games work. But hey, I do think today's preseason game does have some importance today because with Hollywood Brown's injury and how that offense is going to look, Xavier Worthy did not have a catch last week nor a target. Rashee Rice was targeted on a bit of a low pass there that Patrick Mahomes could have maybe helped him out a little bit more right there on a third down play. So I'd like to see what the Chiefs offense is going to look like. Andy Reid did say that the starters would play in the first half. Do I believe that? No. I think you're going to see the starters for at least 2 drives. I do think that unless the first drive is a very long drive, then I can see the starters, coming off the field after that first drive. So, I don't know, like 8, 9, 10 drive, 8, 9 play drives, excuse me. I can see that. If they have like a 15 play drive to open up their first possession on offense, then yeah, I think they're coming off the field after that. They won't play anymore. So what would I like to see from the starting offense in this game? Like I said, Hollywood Brown, he's expected to miss some time. We don't know exactly how much yet. At least, unfortunately, he's probably going to miss the Ravens game. He's not officially ruled out for that yet, but probably will not play in that game. So I want to see something from Xavier Worthy because we've seen a lot from Xavier Worthy in training camp, probably more than any receiver so far in training camp. Last week, the Chiefs offense, the starters only played 6 plays, and then Worthy only played 1 snap on the second series with the backups with Carson Wentz. His presence was still important, though, because him going down the field did free up Noah Gray last week for a nice first down grab from Carson Wentz. So, but we want to see more of Xavier Worthy with Patrick Mahomes. So I think that's very important to see that. Rashee Rice and Patrick Mahomes, they really got going in the postseason last year. Can they get that going in today's game? That way they can get into a rhythm, because there's a really good chance that this is going to be the last time we see Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, all these starters until September the 5th. So definitely want to see something from the ones in this game before they pretty much wrap things up and pretty much focus on September the 5th against the Ravens for the first game of the season. Kingsley Suamataia, Ryan mentioned. I definitely want to see more of Kingsley. When you look at Kingsley last week in the 6 snaps that he played, wasn't really challenged by any pass rushers. So, I'd like to see the Lions kind of give him their best guy, and they probably will in Hutch. So let's see if we get that matchup in today's game. I know the preseason can be a little weird. Some starters expected to play, some not. So we'll see what the Lions are going to do in today's game, who's going to play, who won't, for how long, that kind of thing. Every team's going to be a little different here. So if we can get that matchup, yeah, that'd be a good test for Kingsley for sure, because the Ravens just, for the longest time, have always had a very good defense. So it'd be a really good warm-up matchup for Kingsley, kind of like a nice little welcome to the NFL moment, and he'll definitely get that as well. I don't believe Joe Thuney is expected to play in this game, so we'll see if it's going to be Caliendo who fills in for him. And I, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Jawan Taylor's playing either. So Lucas Niang is going to play a right tackle. Now, Taylor is expected to play that September 5th game, but I'm actually a little excited to see Lucas Niang, because I really, really liked Lucas Niang in 2021 when he was a rookie that year. Was drafted in 2020, but opted out, played in 2021 instead, where the Chiefs had 3 rookies from center to right, Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Lucas Niang, and they all looked really good up until Lucas Niang's injury. Obviously, Humphrey and Smith, they continued to do their thing and played very well since then, essentially. So I like to see what Lucas Niang's going to look like. Jared Wiley had a very quiet game last week. Sky Moore, very quiet as well. Justin Ross, Kadarius Toney, didn't see much of those guys last week. So let's see if those guys, one of those guys, or maybe even 2 of them, can come through and have a big afternoon today. I think obviously a lot of people excited to see what Carson Steele's going to do in his second game. He was arguably the best offensive player for the Chiefs last week when they visited the Jacksonville Jaguars. Looked really good. Got that fourth down touchdown there, the only touchdown the Chiefs had in that preseason game. So what is he going to do in another opportunity? So that's really the offense. The defense, kind of going over some guys. Jaden Hicks, I thought, was the best defensive player last week. Showed his hard-hitting ability, and that's exactly what Spags wants. And even blitz with Jaden Hicks and some of the other defensive backs. I do think that a guy like Josh Williams needs to have a better showing. And I thought Josh Williams in general has been very good for the Chiefs up until this point, or up to this point, I should say. Because it is the preseason. Again, you can't put too much stock in these things, but you still want to see a good performance from these guys. I'd like to see Josh Williams maybe do a little bit better than he did before. Yeah, I see him listed behind McDuffie on the depth chart, which again is unofficial. And honestly, especially a position like cornerback, I don't know how much weight that really holds, because especially in a pass-heavy league, you see a lot more defensive backs on the field than you did maybe about 10, 15, 20 years ago. So Williams is the guy that's expected to play a lot this season. Nazeeh Johnson, we'll see what he does. Shamari Connor, somebody who is making that transition from safety to cornerback, still played in that slot nickel position a lot last year. So I hope we get to see him to do some good things this year, and maybe in the preseason he can kind of show something in this game. I would like to see a little bit of Leo Chanel, see what he can do, filling in for Willie Gay, playing his spot. And now that Willie Gay's moved on, Jack Cochran and Cole Christensen both looked good last week when the backup defense came in. In fact, the Jaguars left their starters in for a little longer, and the Chiefs defense looked really good. Making a big stop with their some of their backups on the field. So I'd like to see those guys maybe do something if they get that opportunity to go up against Jared Goff in this football game. I did see Jared Goff warming up at Arrowhead earlier today, so we'll see how much he plays in this upcoming game. So, and another name I mentioned earlier this week, and this is one that a lot of people have been talking about, is Felix Anudike-Uzomah, who his progress has been kind of slow up until this point. He has not played at a very high level, especially for a first-round draft pick. So I think a lot of people are eager to see FAU, the KC kid, went to K-State. What can he do? Because even last year in the preseason, he was very quiet and did not do anything that really impressed anybody here. Bud says, need to see the speed guys to show off and steal his push power. Yeah, and I'm excited to see what Carson Steele's going to do. Not as fast as a guy like Isaiah Pacheco, but the toughness, the physicality, not afraid of that physical contact there. That's what I really like about him. And the Chiefs have not been the very best, although I do think they were a little bit better about it last year than the year before with short yardage situations. And Carson Steele, I mean, he looked really good. That's definitely a guy that I think Andy Reid would love to utilize more in this offense as a fullback and as someone who can carry the ball, maybe even catch it out of the backfield from time to time, for sure. Jackson says, I want to see more of Wiley, Remigio, and Steele. Yeah, Remigio, I forgot to mention Remigio. Remigio is a good call there because he did not really have the best showing. He's had a really good camp. He looked really good on OTAs as well. And the coaching staff has done nothing but just praise him all offseason long. So didn't look really good last week. Had that drop on kick return, had that fumble, which he was down by contact, but just barely got saved there. Caught a really big break, but you can't be making mistakes like that because and it was kind of weird because last year with the Chiefs, what was the issue? The drops. Well, in last week's preseason game, what constant issue did we see over and over again? Just saw a lot of fumbles. So again, we are seeing lack of care for the football, but in a different manner. At least not just last week. And again, I get it's a preseason, but those kinds of things you never want to see. I better tap in the preseason than on September the 5th and forward. But last week was not a good look for the Chiefs offense, especially when it came to trying to show some care for the football. I'm a little concerned about who the number 2 cornerback is, Ryan says. Yeah, and I think that's valid here because that's something that did not look very good. Because going back to Josh Williams, it just seemed like he got away with maybe some penalties that could have been called. So hopefully the Chiefs are working on that with him and he can have a better showing in this game against the Detroit Lions. Chanel and pass coverage is what I would like to see. I think you may see some of that, but I think he's going to be used more for a run stopper. I'll say this about Leo Chanel. I've said this in the past. I think Chanel, if he were to ever convert into like a 3-4 outside linebacker or a 4-3 defensive end, like an edge rusher in the NFL, I think he would excel at that position. He really does have the right mentality. I think physically he'd be a great fit for that position. And last year when he was going after the quarterback, he was very good at doing that in games he was filling in for Nick Bolton. I think he had about 6 or 7 QB hits, which, for a backup linebacker on this team, not bad considering your main linebackers on this team last year were Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquill, and Willie Gay. Willie Gay, of course, has moved on. And he was dealing with a little bit of injuries last year. Nick Bolton had some injuries last year. So you saw Leo Chanel more last year than you did the year before in his rookie year. So what is he going to do in his third year in the NFL? Someone who, the Chiefs absolutely really like, and this is really his time to shine. This is going to be an opportunity for him to do a lot more. I worry about injuries. Hollywood zapped first time out. Yeah, that's kind of my thing too. And look, just because Andy Reid said that, they're going to play the first half, I don't think they're going to play the whole first half. You saw the Chiefs get the ball a second possession in the first quarter, and they already took the starters off by then. So, I've just learned this in the past. Whatever Andy Reid says in terms of how much playing time starters are going to get, take it with a grain of salt, because it doesn't always. And I think Andy Reid just says it just to say it. I mean, he doesn't. It's kind of like the depth chart. You can put. Let me pull up the depth chart. I'll give you an example. You can put. Let's just say Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Rashee Rice as your 3 starting wide receivers. But maybe on the very first play of the game, you have a play that involves Justin Ross, Kadarius Toney, and Sky Moore. Would be a little weird, but we have seen that in the past. I remember last year. I think Justin Ross. Let me just pull up something real quickly about Justin Ross. Because I remember there was a game, I can't remember exactly which one it was, but Justin Ross he was on the field for the first snap of a game. Yeah, and I have it in front of me. So he was on the field for the very first snap of the Chiefs offense. I don't remember which game it was, but if you're on the field for the first snap for your offense or even your defense, that is considered a start statistically. And I see it right here on NFL.com. Justin Ross does have 1 start under his name in 2023, and it was that 1 game. Again, I can't remember who that was against, but you might see weird things like that. And my point is with the depth chart, you can have a depth chart, but you'll go kind of just off the record with it once the games go. Same thing with Andy Reid whenever he says how much time the starters are going to get in these preseason games. Yeah, that's what we all want, especially after last week, what happened on the first play of the game. Seal Flash looked great. Hopefully that continues. Yes, that you definitely need, because I feel like right now at the running back position, you're looking thin. I know a lot of people are excited about Luis Rees-Zammit. I am as well, but he has not looked very good up until this point. He just hasn't. So, and he is a rookie in the sport as a whole, not just in the NFL, just in the sport as a whole. But the Chiefs see something in him, and a lot of people are saying he's not going to make the team, and I don't disagree. Like if this was anyone, like if that was Clyde Edwards-Helaire playing like that, yeah, he's getting cut from the team. But I could see the Chiefs not letting Luis Rees-Zammit go, because if you want to put him on your practice squad, he has to clear waivers. And I could see at least one team. I could see Carolina or New England doing it. I could see them picking up LRZ partially for jersey sales and to put butts in seats. Not that it would change a whole lot, but maybe an even bigger reason, take that guy away from Andy Reid. I mean, it is strategy after all. That's kind of how it works. I'd be surprised if he cleared waivers, because I know the Chiefs would love to have him on the practice squad, but I think someone else is going to try to snag him and keep him away from Andy Reid. That's just the way I see it. Tony's done, you think? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Chiefs have been using him in all kinds of ways in training camp, so I don't know. Yeah, I appreciate you guys joining me. Thanks for coming on here. I hope they all stay healthy and less drops. 3-peat. Yeah, gotta take care of the football. Jacene, my bad. Yeah, I think I called you Jackson earlier this week, so my apologies. Hey, I see all of you guys. I appreciate you guys being here and joining. If you guys haven't, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. By the way, hope you guys enjoyed the Brody Croyle conversation on Thursday's podcast. Really great guest. Talked about a lot of things, had a very honest conversation about his struggles in Kansas City. We ran out of time with him. I did get a question. Why didn't I ask him about Todd Haley? And I did intend to do so, but we were running out of time. And he was, if you guys saw the video, you could tell he was not home. He was actually at work doing his thing. So that's where he was doing the interview from there. So I really did appreciate that from him. Unfortunately, we just didn't have the time to dive into everything. Maybe we get him again in the future. I think one mistake I've done in the past is having frequent guests, maybe a little too often in years past. And I'm trying to, let it give it some time before bringing people back again. So we'll see if we do reconnect with him down the road again. He's doing some great things with his ranch. So hopefully he continues to do that. Thoughts on who will fill Hollywood's role while he's out? I think the simple answer is really going to be Xavier Worthy. I know right now the Chiefs have had Justin Watson kind of do it in practice, which makes sense because Justin Watson is a seasoned veteran on the team. But in terms of someone that's able to handle the duties that Hollywood Brown was expected to do, and he will come back, I think it's Xavier Worthy, because those two guys are very similar in terms of skill set. Obviously, Xavier is a little much faster and a little smaller, but in general, I just think it's Xavier Worthy is going to have to fill that void in, because I feel like your two starters going into your top two receivers, I should say, would be Hollywood and Rice, and Worthy would be the main slot guy. But I think now it kind of changes a little bit where you might need to see Worthy do the things that Hollywood was expected to do for that first game, possibly. So I do see that being the case. Andy says first quarter, that means 1 to 2 series. First half maybe means first quarter. Yeah, that's a good translation there. You could probably write like the Andy Reid dictionary translation guide there. Yeah, he might be. Yeah, he does have that back injury he's dealing with, so he may not play in this game. Yeah, I forgot about that. As a kicker, yeah, maybe. I want to see more Carson this game. 15 plus carries. Yeah, a lot of people are very excited to see Carson Steele and what he can do, Christopher, for sure. I think there's to me, it's just that running back group right there is very thin. Yeah, Ben, I see your comment. How much, because Jerick McKinnon, to my surprise, is still available. Because I'm looking at the Chiefs depth chart right now. You have Isaiah Pacheco, obvious starter for your team. You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And as you know, not that last year means much because you did not have a lot of playmakers on offense to begin with. But you had very few people stepping up, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire was one of them in a few games. So maybe, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was good enough to make last year's team, but the expectation's much bigger and better this year. Do you cut Clyde Edwards-Helaire and go contact Jerick McKinnon? That's my ideal situation. I'd love for the Chiefs to get Jerick McKinnon back. Again, I'm kind of still surprised he's still available. Maybe he just wants to avoid training camp in some sense, which I get. But I really would love a reunion between McKinnon. I know a lot of people are going to mention McKinnon's age. And what is he, 33, 34 years old? 32. He turned 32 a couple of months ago in the first week of May. So, yeah, he's up there in age. But the thing you got to remember about Jerick McKinnon is this is not someone that's like a down-for-down runner. He hasn't even had a lot of touches that most 32-year-olds would have up to this point in their careers. So this is still someone that would be, still could help do. By the way, how old is Todd Gurley? Remember how great Todd Gurley was? He's younger than Jerick McKinnon and has been out of the NFL for a couple of years. Remember when Todd Gurley, he was considered the best running back in the NFL and Kareem Hunt was right behind him. When was his last appearance? Yeah, 2019 was his last season with the Rams, and 2020 he was briefly with the Falcons. That's it. Now he's an executive. He's an owner of the FCF Beasts. What the hell is the FCF Beasts? Indoor football team founded in 2020, owned by Marshawn Lynch, Miroslav Barnyashev, Todd Gurley, and Renee Montgomery. Okay. And Marcus Peters. Is it the Marcus Peters? Yeah, the Marcus Peters. Former Chiefs first round pick Marcus Peters. That guy. Okay. Cool. Did not know that. But yeah, there you go. Should have cut CEH a couple of years ago. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, if it wasn't for him in that Patriots game, he kind of helped build that 10-point gap, because that was a 10-point game the Chiefs won by. Bring Kareem Hunt back, and it would be a triple threat in the backfield. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I said this earlier in the offseason. I'm very surprised Kareem Hunt is not getting any interest from teams, because even after his time in Kansas City, it's not like he was used as a down-for-down running back in Cleveland. And even last year, like, he signed with Cleveland late because, what was it? Nick Chubb got injured like early in the season, and that's when they went and got back Kareem Hunt. I mean, I don't know. Do teams still hold that incident against him? Because if there's a team that would be, I don't know if I say would be, but needed to get Kareem Hunt, I think Kansas City should do it. I don't think they will, because I do know that the Hunt family was very upset about what happened and his dishonesty about that whole situation. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a whole nother topic. We can probably get into some other time. Sky Moore needs to go, honestly. Chiefs have given both too many chances. Yeah, Sky Moore's progress has been very slow. This is the weird thing about the Chiefs, is they've had a lot of guys whose progress has been slow. Guys like FAU, Sky Moore, McCole Hardman, but they're not really giving up on that. Or at least a guy like McCole Hardman, who's been around, a long time now. But with his skill set, that's not someone that you really give up on. So how much longer are you willing to be patient with a guy like McCole Hardman? How much time do you give a guy like Sky Moore? How much time do you give FAU? Now, there are, of course, some Brett Veach naysayers who are going to say, oh, Farzine, you just brought up 3 guys that have failed for the Chiefs. I don't know if I'd use the word failed, considering Hardman, what he did last year in the Super Bowl. I know that could have been anybody, but that's who they chose to go with. Okay, but we could also push back and talk about the 2 first-round picks he had the same year with the entire 2022 and 2021 draft class. Really, I mean, both were home runs, and I think this year you're not going to see a lot of those rookies that are the Chiefs drafted this year play much this year, in my opinion. You have Worthy and Kingsley; they're going to play. Outside of that, I don't think you're going to see a lot of those guys play much. Maybe Jaden Hicks a little bit. Or I should say a little bit, but he'll play some. Jared Wiley will be a guy who plays a little bit. CJ Hansen and Hunter Norzad, those are guys probably not going to play much, but I think in the future, those guys are going to get some significant playing time, because I think it's going to be an uphill battle to try to bring back a guy like Trey Smith, especially with the guard market going up. So I could see a guy like Hunter Norzad or CJ Hansen playing a lot more once Trey Smith, if he moves on, when I think that is a realistic possibility. So hopefully the Chiefs can figure all of that out, because I do like this upcoming draft class that they have, these group of rookies here. Because I think, short term, yeah, you're going to see Kingsley and Worthy, and I think those are the only 2 guys you're going to see a lot of consistently. But I think down the road in the future, you're going to see that this draft class, this 2024 Chiefs draft class, is going to be a very good one, hopefully. And hopefully they're going to be around for a long time. All right, I'll read a couple more and get out of here. Jesse says, hyped up about the rook at left tackle. Twitchy and nimble with nastiness, loving that. Yeah, and even on passing plays, you see him just going down the field full speed. I mean, that dude's running pretty fast to go out there and throw some blocks. That's what you want to see. And rookies tend to do that. And especially with a guy who was competing for a starting spot, I think Every day we get closer to September the 5th, it just seems like it is going to be Kingsley Suamataia at the left tackle spot. It's not official yet, but it just feels like that more and more, especially with Wanya Morris not really, playing a whole lot right now and, currently a little bit nicked up. So we'll see what happened. Hardman isn't going anywhere. He won the Super Bowl last year. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely staying on the team for sure. But what I'm saying, Donnie, is his progress has just been very, very slow. Bengals and Bears are dancing in the rain. I watched some of that game. The Bengals, I don't think they use any of their starters in this game, but the Bears, man, Caleb Williams had a couple of nice moments there. Now, I will say this. Do you know who else had a really nice preseason and was throwing dimes? Zach Wilson. Okay. I think you all know where Zach Wilson. I actually, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know where Zach Wilson. I think he's with Denver. Yeah. That's where Zach Wilson is, Denver, right? I mean, I can't really say that with full confidence, but I think that's where he is, Denver. It's a preseason. And listen, I know the Bengals, even their starting defense is not very good, but that was their second stringers, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. You get excited in the moment when you see your team make big plays, but then, you take a moment, you later realize, wait a minute, this is the preseason. Okay, Adam Teicher just tweeted, among those not suited up for the Chiefs today's game against the Lions, Hollywood Brown, obviously, Justin Reed, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Nick Bolton, Jalen Watson, Wanya Morris, Jawan Taylor, Derek Nadi, and Chris Jones. So does that mean Reese Summit? I don't know or did they already put the injury designation? Yeah, no, Reese Summit's warming up. Okay. So he might actually be expected to play. He's practicing kicks. He's doing all that good stuff. Okay. So, yeah, I was not expecting that. Okay, so he'll get an opportunity. Looking forward to it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Kickoff in less than half an hour away. Let's do what the Chiefs do. Hey, reminder, come back at halftime. We will recap the first half, and then come back after the game. We will do the Chiefs Zone podcast live. We will take your calls after the game. Whatever's on your mind from this preseason game, we will do it after the game. So appreciate you guys joining me for this pregame live chat. I'll talk to you guys at halftime and after the game. I'm out. Peace.